Hi, you're watching Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, YouTube, iBlog Radio, Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. We're everywhere. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That gentleman out there is
Rick Levy in San Diego.
Rick. We are so jazzed. We are jazzed tonight because we have the entire line of the mad scientist of tequila. We have Terralta, excuse me. I fell into my gringo side of me. Terralta tequila is produced by Ingeniero Felipe Camarena, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because he is related. He is the brother of Carlos Camarena of Los Altos and Arandas, and of course the tequila is El Tesoro de Don Felipe and Tapatio. But this stuff is his.
Yeah. And he also is his other brand is G4.
Yeah, I've never had that.
And he is also the maker for Pasote.
Pasote, which you myself
Artenom 1579.
Now you and I have had that. We've had Pasote. Alex and myself have also had Pasote together. Pasote is like the tequila that's been reviewed by everybody here at Tequila Aficionado. But this is really new, and I'm very excited. As you can see, I was so happy to get this stuff, and we want to thank Creo Spirits in Phoenix for making this happen. What do we know about what's so special about this? Because I know Pasote is over in left field, and then Terralta is somewhere like I don't know in right field.
So Felipe is really innovative with his distillery, and something that he has a great interest in is his water sources. He has a huge roof on the distillery, and he captures all of his rainwater and holds it. And he also has a natural spring-fed well, a very deep well. It's like 460 feet deep or something like that.
Yeah, it's the point of sale material is the same as the website, and it says it's really deep. I don't know how many meters it is. So
something he wanted to do was to showcase the difference in the tequila between the different waters. So for his G4 brand, he uses a 50-50 mix of his captured rainwater and his spring-fed water.
Okay.
For Pasote, he went with a 60-40 mix, with the 60% being from the spring, the well. So it has more of a mineral quality to it than the G4, which was a bit softer from the higher rainwater content. For the Artenom Selección 1579, he also did a 50-50 mix, like with the G4, but he did some other things with this as well. Now, for Terralta, he is going entirely 100% deep well water.
I was going to ask you how the combinations. I know that he's, like you said, very innovative in his water usage, and I was wondering, since I didn't know any of the information that we have on Terralta. The only thing I knew was that the well water was 160 feet down, so that's like over 140 meters, something like that. So it's deep, but I wasn't sure if he was using it completely or if he was using a combo like he had done with his other tequilas. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that really explains a lot when we go through this. I'm going to venture in and use a reel.
So you have I want to correct your numbers there. The 140, it's 140 meters deep as well. Right. And so that's about 460 feet.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know who did the math on this thing, but okay. that and the fact that I can hardly read the printing, but I think it was
So
taken right off the website, actually.
So Felipe, the Camarenas are known for growing their own agaves as well, and he's in Jesus Maria, uh, outside of Arandas. It's a bit more east, right? Anyway, he's in Arandas, and so this is some of the highest agave growing area in Mexico. So he is, growing his agaves around 6,800 feet. And, it's Jesus Maria goes from like 6,700 to 6,900 feet in there. And Felipe's fields are around 6,800. So when we're talking about highlands agaves, this is as high as it gets pretty much.
Apparently where he's located is the Destilería El Pandillo. According to the website, it says it's in Arandas. I'm not sure. It approximately 80 miles from Guadalajara. Again, we're getting differing information because it's not consistent. I know that it's at El Pandillo, which is his distillery. And that would be the Artenome that you showed a little bit earlier.
Well, even on the Selección, it says Jesus Maria.
Good. Okay. Well, that's where the fields are. I'm assuming that's where his fields are.
Well, that's where his distillery is too. His distillery is in the center of his fields.
Okay. All right. Well,
at least from the satellite pictures I've seen.
From the satellite pictures. I don't know. I think we need a close up of this bottle, man. I think we need to.
Yeah. Well, another interesting thing about Terralta, you see, he has there's a raised glass here. It's a Tahona with bull and agave pencas, and so that's on the front of the Terralta bottle. He's actually using the same bottle for G4, but it's turned around. And so that embossed symbol appears on the back.
Well, the whole website starts with I'm not in the business of fancy bottles. I'm in the business of making tequila.
That's right.
And you know what? You can't be more honest than that.
Yeah.
Frank. So
yeah, he doesn't make any bones about it. He's
you met him, right?
I did. I met him several months ago at a reception at Cantina Mayahuel here in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I got there early, and I was able to talk to him, one-on-one for quite a while. It was great.
Does he always look like the grumpy old man?
Pretty much. He's very friendly, though.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this or not, but from Carlos, when last I spoke to him, and I was in LA with him, and when they launched Tapatio into the U.S., and he said that his family is one of the founding families of Arandas, of the Los Altos area. So that explains, there's a lot of pedigree and there's a lot of history behind this family. So they, I think Felipe and his son now are the third and fourth generation of distillers. So there's a lot of history going on, and those guys, literally practically invented, that style of tequila.
Yeah.
So
G4 is actually named for his sons, the fourth generation of the family distilling.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I like I say, we hope to have some of that here, at Tequila Aficionado sometime either this year, maybe next year. We're just awaiting samples, basically, from the neat thing. What Felipe did was he had 3 different lines, and they have 3 different importers, which is really nice. I got to tell you, man, we got it. I'm using a Riedel. I don't. What are you going to use to pour these in?
Well, first for the Blanco, I think I'm going to use my Chisholm Trail Jarrito.
Okay. I'm going to venture out and say that, just for the sake of transparency here, I've been using this copita. This is the Glencairn copita for all of the varietals up until the we're going to be tasting the full strength, the barrel strength extra añejo, and I have used this and really enjoyed it. But I've been sticking to one glass. I'm gonna play around with several glasses and see if I get anything more. I mean, it's going to be, oh God. Oh man. Wow. Wow. We're just get a nose full of agave and citrus notes, some really heavy citrus. Now, you know what? When the first time I poured, um, we're gonna the heavier iteration, the 110 proof. I poured it in this glass, and one I got all this fruit right on the nose, right away, and you can tell the opening on this glass is just a little bit smaller than the Riedel. And I gotta say, at first I thought I smelled peaches, and I said, no, that's impossible because there are no peach trees up there. But
Well,
maybe mango. Maybe I got some mango. I got some tropical fruit.
so Felipe has planted a number of different trees around his property to, diversify the ecology, bring in, insects and birds
I,
and what have you. And so he's planted cinnamon trees, strawberry guava trees,
that's
fig,
it. That's it.
fig trees, and various citrus trees.
No kidding. Yeah, because it's a full fruit nose,
Yeah.
and it's slightly different. It's reminiscent of pasote and different all at once.
Yeah, it doesn't have that kind of. I think we kind of described it as a green funk with
Yeah,
Pasote.
yeah. It's pasote has a funky. It leans more toward the funkiness of the flavor wheel. Okay,
Yeah.
and I've heard some distillers use, especially mezcal distillers or sotol, they will do something with the heads or the tails. They when they do the second distillation, they'll add it back in something weird like that.
Oh,
To and again, I'm not a distiller, so I could be completely wrong, but I know that they're using one of the cuts in the second distillation, and they're getting that funkiness. It helps the flavor profile of whatever of the mezcal or the sotol to lean toward the funkiness. Now I don't know if that's what pasote is up to, but this one it was
yeah.
much more, way less funky and much more fruity.
With Pasote, I had also wondered if maybe they were doing something different in the shaving of the pencas off the pina. Like maybe they were leaving a bit more, just a little bit, maybe a couple centimeters of the penca on there.
Hard to say. I both those guys, both those fellows are just mad scientists. The stuff that they
Yeah.
do to
Felipe has a couple of engineering degrees, so he's really sciencing the hell out of this stuff. So
well, now let's just tell everybody if you haven't seen any videos of El Pandillo, his distillery, you can find those on YouTube. But you'll notice that he has a taona, except it's not stone wheel taona that we are used to. He has a converted steamroller with pegs that looks like this giant.
yeah,
It looks like something you want to aerate your lawn with. You
he got
know.
he got this junked steamroller, and they welded a bunch of nubs onto it,
Right,
and
right.
his take on it is, I guess, he's gently pressing the fibers with this huge heavy wheel without breaking the fibers. And he says that if you're able to do that without breaking the fibers, you get a different flavor profile.
I right now I agree. Because this is a beautiful nose, Rick. This is really
Yeah.
something. It's fruity. Both you and I are using two different pieces of glass, and we're getting just about the same thing.
Yeah, I'm getting, now that it's opened up a bit, I'm getting some of that fresh, starchy apple center that I find in a lot of Highlands.
The other thing too is I think he's using the proprietary yeast that is a family recipe. It is the same yeast that his grandfather Don Felipe had been using. So it is a strain that's exclusive to the Camarena family, or at least to Carlos and Felipe, not so much the commercial Camarena, that they're related cousins.
I think he's using, he might be using some of just the natural environmental yeasts as well.
Whatever he's doing, he's got me hooked, man. This is you.
Yeah.
This is a Blanco. It's really funny. You and I will linger over an añejo or an extra añejo, but with Felipe's tequilas, you linger over the blancos, and you notice that the aged versions of his expressions are not very deep in color, and we'll get to that when we get to the others.
Yeah.
The the rest.
He's really about the Blanco in his tequilas.
Yeah,
I think that's where his love lies. The
I love
barreling,
this
I
man.
think, is something he does it because that's, people want those expressions. But I think with the barrels, he usually does a fairly light touch because, he really wants the agave to show through.
Well, as we go through those expressions, we'll be able to tell you a little bit more about the barrels. But
Yeah.
I got to dive into this Blanco, man. I got to taste it.
Another innovation Felipe has done at El Pandillo is that for his ovens, he uses the stone masonry ovens, and he has actually the way they usually work is that they run steam in through the bottom to cook the agaves from the bottom up, but then you end up with the agaves on the bottom, they get heavily cooked, and then the ones on the top that get
They get
less
less,
well
less
done.
heat. Right.
And so what he's done is he's run steam lines across the top as well. And so he's putting in steam from both the top and the bottom to get more of an even cook.
It's an agave Oreo cookie with all the double stuff in the middle. Oh my God.
Hmm.
What a great finish too. It's got a nice warm fuzzy. This particular expression is the 80 proof, 40 ABV. If you stick with us, you're going to see us go to the 110, which is like the Blanco, only going through a speaker
Yeah.
amplifier.
But this has so much agave going on in it, you would almost think it was a 110. Not from the alcohol effect, but just from the full presence of agave.
Yeah. It's got a great finish. Really a
Yeah.
nice lingering finish.
Lots of
Just
pepper.
right, and it's got just a touch of the bitterness on the side of the palate. Not a lot, nothing. You'd really have to dig into it to find it. It's not annoying. It's not off-putting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
perfect.
it's a full sensory experience.
Oh my God. Now, Rick, something about the water. The description in the websites talk about the water being viscous. I,
Yeah.
I hesitate to think that that's the case, because if it's viscous, that would denote that there's some sort of oil, some sort of grease.
I think what they're getting at is that it's coming from deep well water, so it has a higher mineral content
Well, that's
than
that's what I wanted to correct. Is I think that the minerality is what I'm getting on the sides of
yeah,
my palate, and on the nose as well.
yeah.
The viscosity, I think, happens in distillation, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, the water would definitely have to have something to do with that.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
the minerals would increase the density of the water, I would imagine.
okay.
Whereas the rainwater would be lighter because
Be like,
it
yes.
wouldn't have those minerals in it. So I think that's what they're trying to get at with this. He's certainly not pumping up any goo from underground.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's pumping viscous water, he's wasting his time in the tequila business. We got to call the Ewings out there, man.
He should be making Texas tea, right?
That's it. This is lovely. This is so beautiful. This, I got to say, I would not mix this in any kind of a cocktail, although you probably could.
Well, it would certainly hold up in a cocktail.
Yeah,
You know,
even
I would.
at 80 proof.
As with all of Felipe's brands, all the brands that he works on, they're, really high quality sippers. But, if you're a mixologist and you really want the agave to come through in your drink, then you could certainly create something wonderful with this. But I'll always just be sipping it.
I would say that this is a beautiful representation of what is possible from the Jesus Maria / Arandas area. This is really, truly, and Rick, you and I have had several from the highlands, from Atotonilco and Amatitan, and this is really different. This really captures, I think, that microclimate that Felipe is in.
Yeah.
And the terroir is just on point. This tequila is on point. As far as I'm concerned, this is a Brand of Promise nominee.
Absolutely.
Would you say, Rick, because I know that you and I have nominated Pasote in the legacy category, and this is another legacy, I would think. Wouldn't you say?
Well, it's a new brand, and
so is Pasote.
Yeah.
It's like this instant legacy. We're talking to Camarenas. We're not talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Felipe's been around for a while. He's had one or two brands that have been out for a long time, and I think he's finally hit his stride with this one.
He's got a lot of experience going back to, the family and, helping to start Tequila Ocho.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. What more can we say? Brand of Promise nominee in the Blanco category for legacy brands. This is the 80 proof Terralta. Stick with us.
Right now, this is going for about $40 where I pick up my juice. So.
Okay. Well, don't hesitate. Go get it. Right. Call whoever you have to call. Get them to deliver it to you.
You can order it online from Old Town Tequila. They'll ship it to you.
Yeah, and nobody ships like Zach anyway, so you can guarantee that your stuff will show up. Thanks again to Creo Spirits in Phoenix for putting this together. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That young man,
Rick Levy in San Diego.
You've been watching Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media. All of our platforms now. We're everywhere. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe down below. If you're watching us or listening to us on Blog Talk Radio and iTunes, subscribe there as well. You won't miss a thing. And stick with us because we're about to venture into an amplified version of the Terralta Blanco with Terralta 110. Thanks again for watching, and as always, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.